Hi, this is the Street Preacher, Duane H. Lyon. I'm so glad to be back with you. 1 Corinthians 2:16, I'll paraphrase it, talks about we have the mind of Christ. We have the mind of Christ. And it's related to another teaching I did, mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit. And you can't really separate them. When I was in the world, I was always very athletic. I fought full contact karate before the UFC, before any of that. It was called other names. But I carried that into the ring. In the world, I promised myself I would always finish on my feet. And in God, I made a promise I would always finish on my knees. I hiked through Haiti one time, and a young man named Scott was with me. And he asked me, he had an offer to become a pastor. He asked me about it, and I just told him, I just think you're not really ready. You're too young. You know what? I was wrong. We went to Haiti, and we hiked to a village called MANITOBA, about a 12-hour hike. On the way back, after giving out tracts and shoes and spending a couple nights, Scott lost his ability to speak. He became so fatigued, he couldn't speak. When we got back to the camp, 12 hours later, we all took a shower, we got something to eat. He didn't. He went straight to bed. More than food and more than a shower, after a lot of sweating, he needed one thing, sleep. Scott, he had it. He willed himself to finish that trek. He went on to pastor a church, and 10 or 12 years later, he's still there. I was wrong, and glad to be wrong. Anybody I personally discipled, Brother Jerry Turner is one I discipled, I taught him this. First thing I did after joining the church, I said, join the gym, start walking. Work your mind. Every day I meet interesting people. I write and read poetry. Work your body with exercise. My nickname is a 58-year-old genetic freak. I can even throw footballs without touching them. And my spirit. I read the Bible. I listen to the Bible. And I talk the Bible with Bible people. I was known as a strong-willed child. When I came to Christ, I surrendered my life. I gave that over to God, but He didn't take it away from me. I've traveled through 70 countries. I've slept behind churches and on park benches in Sweden. I've camped really all over the world, and I've stayed in mansions and palaces. But there's some in-between time serving God. Everything ain't up on the platter. That's why some people never leave. Don't have the mind. One time I hiked from Owensboro, Kentucky over to Rockport, Indiana. A whole group of people wanted to walk with me. They hadn't trained any. And there was some I thought, oh, they'll make it. And others I thought, they're not going to make it. One that did make it, who really didn't train but was one of the most excited. He was a fairly new Christian. His name was Steve Shore. By the time we got to this walk to the end, he couldn't talk. His legs were giving out. He stumbled into the church. He made it. I really didn't think he would make it. But I couldn't see the inside of him. His spirit willed him. Listen, your body will follow your mind. My son's in the Air Force, and people train. They train for boot camp. I've talked to people in special forces, and they'll run, and they're out running, and they're drinking Gatorade and eating energy bars, and they're fit as a fiddle. And some of them get in there and they don't make it. Because they're not going to let you sleep in boot camp. You got to go do all these things without sleep. Somebody throwing garbage can lids. And in the kingdom, you're going to have some arrows shot at you. You're going to have some garbage thrown at you. People come in and they want to be a rocket, but they turn out to be a bottle rocket. A big lot of sparks and boom, they disappear. They can't handle it. Well, I saw this on Facebook. What about his book? Somebody said, so what? If they're talking about you, they're letting somebody else rest. If they see enough of Jesus in you to persecute you, that's a gift. We want to be loved. I want to be loved. But it's not always like that. Steve Shore did it. There was a pastor. He said, well, my feet are wet. It came a rain as we crossed the bridge. Some said, it's too dangerous. I ain't crossing that bridge. One said, my feet are wet. He called his wife. He went by. She said, it's really not important. It wasn't to him. Others, well, my legs hurt. This is silly. I'm going back. But there was a few who made it. They walked the walk. In the world, when I fought, I remember one time I was in a contest, called it a tough man contest. I was the last fight the first night. I had to fight a biker, and boy, I got on my bicycle the first round. But the second round, I hit everybody, including the referee. But the motorcyclist, he didn't come out the third round. He'd had enough. I was the first fight the last night. And I fought the guy that won it all. I got knocked down, but I didn't even feel it. I remember hitting a locker before I went in the ring, and I had a black belt instructor. And I hit the lockers, and I just, he said, wait a minute, save that for the ring. Later, the champion said, that was my toughest fight. He was taller than me, he was quicker than me, he was stronger than me. I was small and small frame. They put me last the first night. See, they couldn't see inside of me. They didn't know I was running 7 miles a day, taking 2 karate classes a day, boxing and all that I was doing early in my 20s. Now, like to say I'm a 58-year-old genetic freak. But I'm in Christ. I'm a Jesus freak. But I've carried that energy and asked God to develop my will and my spirit and my mind. I have the mind of Christ. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And guess what? You can too. See people come out of Walmart and they unlock the vehicle and they run. It's so cold. And they say, I'm going to run because this pain. Well, there's people starving overseas with no food. There's people with no houses living in tents. They're cold. But we're spoiled in America. We've been found wanting, hadn't we? When the jock has got his hair pulled back like Elvis and resting, he's in the gym, he's the man. But when you're hungry, when you're destitute, when you're out there living under a bridge, that's when you can be tested. Well, if I'm serving God, hard times not going to come. Listen, it don't work like that. All that live godly shall suffer persecution. And we become spoiled and lazy in America. There's nothing impossible. If our mind can conceive it and believe it, body will do it. If we believe in Christ, all things are possible. I would still be in Jordan if I'd listened to the folks around me. Oh, you street preaching's past. You're not going up there with that cross. He'll never get out of this county. But I did. I'm a world changer, and I disciple world changers. Friends, I'm going to close out on this, but I want you to think about it. I jokingly said in the title, I'm in training, I'm going to come back into the ring. I would be good for 1 minute. Then after that, I would lay down and say, please stop hitting me. But my spirit is alive in Christ. Jesus is coming. Train your mind, train your spirit, train your body. We're in a war. I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the power unto salvation to all those that believe and choose. And God has chose you. Share and subscribe. Think about what I'm saying. Pray about it. I love you. And you know what? Maybe I'll pray about it. Maybe I will train and go back in the ring.